Hello.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We're recording this. Are you okay with that?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Sorry for all the confusion getting this second interview rescheduled. I had a hectic past week and a half.
First things first, we do like to get to know a little bit more about you. So, do you have any experience in this field or in
Uh,
like growing?
yeah, I do. So for the past year of my whole last year of college, I worked closely with Dr. Stacy Tolfson at the U of A. She's a professor in plant and soil science, and I worked in the student union rooftop greenhouse with her, and I grew cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes, and bell peppers. And we did all of that hydroponically using rock wool and a top drip irrigation system. And the bulk of my job title was doing plant care with those different types of crops, lysimeter readings, which consisted of EC and pH measurements, calculating and mixing nutrient recipes, and also just scouting the whole greenhouse for different pest management issues and dealing with that however we needed to. And yeah, and then just throughout my last 3 years of college, I've been a sustainable plant systems major. So I've had plenty of labs with giving me a lot of experience in greenhouses and just everything agricultural.
Tell me a little bit more about you.
I grew up here in Tucson. I went to high school down the street at South Point Catholic. And then for my first 2 years of college, I went to Washington State University. At that point in time, I was very interested in growing grapes. I was a viticulture and enology major. Um, and then once I transferred over to the U of A, they didn't have that. So that's when I started to get into this just in general agricultural greenhouse mindset. Um, but yeah, so ever since then, I've just had a really big passion for plants. And yeah, I am very excited to get out into the real world and start working with plants in a commercial environment. But yeah, I'm yeah.
Okay, and just to clarify, you do live in Tucson, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay,
near,
awesome.
near the campus.
What would you say are some of your strengths and weaknesses?
So for my strengths, I would definitely say that my passion for plants and everything green is definitely got to be a strength in this line of work. Every little issue in the greenhouse I'm so interested in because it all pieces together uh, into one big picture. So yeah, I'm definitely a really big hard worker. I have anything I apply myself to. I'm paying attention to detail. I'm going the extra mile to make sure I did it properly. And then for weaknesses, I would definitely say one thing I can struggle with is I can tend to ask too many questions if I am unsure about something, even the slightest bit. I want to make sure I'm getting all the information, make sure I do it properly, and yeah.
Okay, and what are your time obligations right now?
Right now, nothing. I've just been applying for jobs. Just looking for work. So
Are
as of
you
now,
available like full time, part time?
I'm available full time and yeah, definitely looking for a full time job as well.
Okay, and are you able to lift at least like 40 pounds, be on your
Oh
feet
yeah.
3 to 4
Mhm.
hours?
Yeah, no physical limitations.
Solving and critical thinking, really important here.
Yeah.
Tell me about a time when you had to learn something new.
One thing that was one of the more difficult things to do in our advanced hydroponics class this past year. My advanced hydroponics class and my internship worked closely together because it was my advanced hydroponics professor was actually who I was working with for my internship. So one of the things that was definitely more difficult and I struggled with a little bit was at first was the nutrient calculations. We would be given we would look at our stock tanks. We had the A, B, and C, the A, B, and the acid, and it was a little tricky at first, just learning the like stoichiometry involved with calculating how much was left in the tank, and so how much you'd need to add of each of the different salts. And so for my first time doing that, I thought I kind of had it all figured out on my own, but as I started doing it, I realized that because it was such an important thing, I didn't want to mess anything up, so I had to reach out to one of the other graduate students who had done it plenty of times, and I got some help from her and was able to figure that out and get it done fully.
That's a good thing, asking for help.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you consider yourself to be a very organized person or just organized?
Definitely. I'm the type of person who, if my surroundings are cluttered, I get a little anxious. So I can definitely say I'm constantly trying to keep everything neat and in a organization that's easy for me to understand and for my peers to understand.
Would you consider yourself to be like technologically savvy?
Oh, definitely. I when I first started college, I thought I wanted to be an engineering major, so I was definitely into all that stuff. Once I realized I had more of a passion for plants and this stuff, drifted away from that. But I've taken lots of classes um, about Excel, and I'm very proficient with Word as well. So yeah, all that stuff. I'm definitely think I'm
Okay.
pretty good at.
Awesome. It's really important that whoever we end up working with is a team player and able to relate to people well. Could you give me an example of when you had to work on a team?
Yeah, so um, I've been on sports teams throughout my whole life, or at least up until college. I played three sports in high school. I did track, lacrosse, and football, and uh, and those all definitely taught me lots of lessons about uh, supporting your teammates, and that if you all work together, it's all worth it for the end goal. And but yeah, so at the greenhouses, even for my job this past year, we were kind of a little bit of a team because someone had to be in there every single day for lysimeter readings or for any little problem that might happen around the greenhouse. And then so coordinating with the other my other peers was definitely a big part of that. And so just being the one to initiate to initiate getting things done and going out of the way to if someone says, oh, I might not be able to get in there today, to just volunteer immediately. And yeah, I learned a lot about just getting that done so that we wouldn't have problems in the future. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And now, as far as working on a team, when you're working with people, everyone's not going to get along. So
Mhm.
conflict resolution is extremely important. Can you tell me about a time when you worked with someone and you didn't necessarily agree and how you handled the situation?
I'd say, so I used to work at PF Chang's for a little while. I was a busboy. I'd say maybe one good example is there was a time where another busser was just kind of cutting corners a little bit, doing things improperly, and the manager isn't necessarily watching 24/7, so anything that they do incompletely can kind of look bad for all the bussers and whatnot. And so uh, I think a good example would be I just pulled him aside and just made a quick light suggestion about how he could do things a little differently to not cut that corner, but I went about it in a very lighthearted but serious manner, um, and yeah, just to get that message across to someone. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, and we definitely want to make sure that whoever works with our company is very passionate about the field. So why would you be interested in working with our company?
Um, so I'm a recent newly medical patient as well. So I see the benefits of cannabis and how much it can help people, um, and I just really am excited to get involved with a commercial grow facility. I love surrounded by plants while I'm working, um, and Yeah, I would be very excited to help you guys build up the company, as I know you guys are relatively new. And yeah, that would just be awesome to be a part of.
Okay, so the position that we have right now is not necessarily working hands-on completely with the plants, but as you mentioned, since we are a relatively new company, it's kind of like you get in where you fit in. So if the
Yeah,
grower needs you here, if the grower needs you there, if there's something going on in the clone room, all hands on deck, right?
yeah.
Um, Based upon our interview before, and I know I kind of discussed that with you, it would be more of an agricultural administration position where you're making sure that all the inventory that we need stocked in there. You're working closely with the grower to make sure that he has all the items that he needs. On top of that, getting in contact with the dispensaries, letting them know that we have product available, maybe handling some of the sales. And within your background, you might have the terminology that they could relate to in order
Mhm.
to understand, like, hey, this is what this plant does. And then you also mentioned that you're a recent medical marijuana patient. These are some of the benefits to some of these plants. We have
Mhm.
Exanon available and all that other stuff. And in conjunction with that, you'd be working with the CFO to ensure that, everything's within the inventory, comes out correct,
Yeah.
when he runs the numbers and everything. Is that
Mhm.
something that you feel like you'd be able to handle?
Yeah, that's something I'd be definitely super interested in. Being that my degree is an agricultural degree, I would definitely want to make sure that I could have as much involvement as possible with the grow, or at least opportunity for future involvement. Does that sound like something that
Yeah, and
could?
that's a good thing about getting in on the ground floor, because you never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The person who is presently the assistant grower, he's been with us not too long. We had a different assistant grower, so you see how that happens. Like
Hmm.
someone ends up not pulling their weight or not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then the next person steps up because he was actually
Yeah.
one of our laborers. So now he's
Mhm.
our assistant grower, and he's doing a
Mhm.
phenomenal job with John. But there's various positions as things come up, working with plants and things of that nature.
Yeah. Okay. So you did say this was a full-time position.
Yeah, this would be full time for the most part right now. I believe it's full time. I will let Skylar or the boss kind of talk to that. I more or less just wanted them to see how you would answer the questions and why I kind of felt like you'd be a great candidate for this position, even though I know this is not what you applied for.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me.
All right,
But
no
yeah,
worries.
no.
I'm going to submit this tape. If you do, you have any questions for me?
Yeah, so one other question would be, would it be a salary position or hourly?
That's something that you're going to have to talk to the boss with.
Okay.
I think that this is a paid position. It's not an internship, which is why, I wanted to re-interview you, even though you wanted the internship. I believe that this is a paid position.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That would be ideal. Okay. All right. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know more about the position and
All
the
right. And I
opportunity.
will get back to you as soon as possible. If not me, Skylar will. The CFO will
Okay.
be getting back to you. Okay. And
Okay.
the next step is scheduling a facility visit with you and to see how you relate to everybody else that's,
Mhm.
working in the facility.
Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, you too. Bye.